Math 3, Unit 2, Inverses and Exponential Functions. As you start this unit, here's a quote about mathematics that you can reflect on. The essence of mathematics is not to make simple things complicated, but to make complicated things simple. Stan Guter. The big ideas for this unit include inverse functions and their characteristics. You will be learning what makes two functions inverses of one another and the effects they have on one another. You will also be examining exponential functions and be introduced to its inverse, the logarithmic function. You will be modeling with exponents and using logarithms to solve the equations. Key mathematical tools that we will use in this unit include analyzing key features in functions, analyzing the first and second differences of functions, creating tables, graphs, equations, and interpreting them in context. In the first two lessons of this unit, you will examine what it is to be an inverse function. It is called this because it inverts, or undoes, what the other function has done. You will explore how to find inverses for functions using multiple representations, tables, graphs, and words. You will use function notation to evaluate inverse functions for a given input. You will learn the effect inverses have on domain and range and how to identify if a function is invertible for all the domain. In the next lessons, you will focus on a specific inverse, the inverse of the exponential function, the logarithm. You will explore its graph to identify its key features, such as asymptotes and critical points, as well as its behavior. You will then learn its equation and how to go back and forth between exponential and logarithmic form. You will also learn to evaluate logarithmic expressions and how to compare their values. The next lessons move into function machines and finding the inverse of functions in equation form. You will use the context of a machine with input and output to understand how inverses follow the order of operations. You will apply the properties of equality and the order of operations to find inverses of equations. You will also learn to use function notation to represent inverses. The unit transitions from inverse functions to exponential functions and using the logarithmic function, its inverse, to solve equations. You will be working in the context of urban planning and transportation to build models and then solve problems. The next lesson is looking at the effect of changing the time period on the rate of growth. In the context of an invasive species and population growth, you will explore what happens to an exponential model when you change the measurement of time. The unit wraps up with looking at compounding interest and how it changes the exponential model. You will study compounding interest and how it changes the amount of interest earned. You also use logarithms to help you solve problems. Here's a list of key vocabulary terms for this unit. Some of these vocabulary terms should already be familiar to you from previous courses. Here are some key skills needed to be successful with the content of this unit. You should be able to graph an exponential function, write a model for exponential growth or decay, know all of the opposite operations, addition versus subtraction, apply the laws of exponents, find domain and range of a function, and identify the order of operations in both directions. In addition to your teacher and school-based resources, there are several additional resources available. The Ready, Set, Go homework help videos are housed in Canvas for your class. You can access these in Canvas using your student login. If you do not know how to log into Canvas, ask your teacher for help. The K-12 Math Resources website, which can be found on your school's website, includes additional support items such as unit and lesson overviews, videos overviewing the tasks, essential vocabulary, the North Carolina standards for each unit, learning targets for each lesson, and extra practice problems.